Rob. Well, of course, we all know that China is really rising up to become a superpower when it comes to artificial intelligence. They've laid out their plans to become a leader in AI by 2030. They've announced plans earlier this year to build a $2.1 billion technology park in Beijing dedicated to developing AI. And we had a note on the Bloomberg terminal this morning actually coming through from Bernstein analysts saying that China is very quickly catching up to the US in becoming a leader in AI. And in fact, the analyst said they could become a global leader by 2030, if not sooner. So let's talk about it more with the experts that know a lot more than I do. To quote Zach quoting Ray Dalio, I certainly am not a leader in this environment. But Dr. Winnie Tang is. She's here. On the furthest part of our panel, she's an honorary professor in the Department of Computer Science at the University of Hong Kong, and she also founded ESRI China in the 1990s, which is a developer and promoter of geographic information systems, software and solutions. We also have Frankie Tam with us. Now, Frankie Tam is an international lawyer, technology lawyer, qualified not only in Hong Kong because, you know, why just do Hong Kong? New York State as well, England and Wales. And she works at the Hong Kong Internet Finance Association, which is a non-profit organisation established here in Hong Kong. It has some of the most ambitious efforts to promote and advance the education of FinTech and the use of technology for benefit of the public. Now, Winnie, I wanted to start with you because, you know, we talk a lot on... Yes, hello to everyone. I host a program on Bloomberg Radio where we talk a lot about AI, and a lot of the jokes or the questions that come up are robots going to steal our jobs? And I think that we all know that's not the case. Instead, what it is the fact that artificial intelligence is being developed. There is actually a bit of a talent scarcity when it comes to this. So how does China get around that and try and promote and retain talent in artificial intelligence development?
Actually, in the year 2016, the State Council has developed a next generation's AI development plan. And there are 3 stages of AI development being outlined. And in that outline, it clearly set the milestone or the KPI. Say in the year 2020, China will strike their very best to catch up with the world on the AI or the advanced AI development and applications. And on 2025, China also set another milestone, which is to be one of the leadings in the basic research and theoretical developments on the AI. And the year 2030, the milestone is even bigger, which is to become the global innovation center on AI. So China has been putting a lot of effort, resources in developing the whole country, I would say, into an AI-ready country.
But just to the point of actually getting talent, if they're coming across the globe, what is going to, I guess, entice people to be working, say, for example, in this big technology park in Beijing, moving to China, as opposed to perhaps saying in Silicon Valley, for example?
Actually, I have been told that there will be preferential policy for any domestic companies that partner with Western companies or foreign companies to develop AI technologies or applications. This is one thing. The second thing which would be interesting knowing is China has also stepped up their AI educations within their education system. For example, they have already mandated the primary school to have at least 1 hour training or classes on science every week. And for secondary school, they have added AI-related as well as smart city-related training in their curriculum. And for university, they have raised the quota for the PhD and master intake on AI.
All right, Frankie, I want to move to you because just moving on from Winnie's point, we also had, I'm quoting economist notes on AI because That's my beef, looking at what we have on the Bloomberg terminal. But Tang Hangbo, who is an economist, I should say, from the University of Yangzhou, said that AI is going to lead to sustained growth of productivity in the services industry, but it needs to go beyond new products to transform daily life. So with the 2030 plan in mind, what sort of areas are we going to see AI move out of? It's going to be right across the board, right? From technology, education, as we just mentioned, healthcare, for example. Tell us more about your insights.
I think one particular point about China is that China has the highest number of internet users and mobile plan subscriptions. That will give a lot of data for any researchers to develop in AI. And that is unique, although even in the next generation AI plan, the AI development plan given by the State Council last year, it also officially recognizes there are some areas where China may be lagging behind in AI development, including the manufacture of semiconductors, the chips for machine learning. So the Chinese government is aware of where it's lagging behind, but at the same time, it also knows where its strength is, which is they are in the lead of gathering a large amount of data because of the high number of users, and also the general public in China are more comfortable with their data being gathered in public spaces. For example, you see a lot of smart bikes is a phenomenon in China, and use of smart bikes linked to your phones can gather a lot of data about your location, your usage, where you go to, and where you connect to. So these data will yield and help the development of AI research and application in China. And just to echo the three-step plan that Winnie talked about, actually in the State Council's new generation plan, this is very positive as well, where it says that the government is aware that there must be new risks and areas which is unseen before, and the government will develop some positive and favorable regulations to support the AI development while ensuring stable and controllable AI growth.
So is that what's going to drive everything to China away from perhaps the US and make China more of a global leader like they're trying to be? Is it going to be the fact that there might be less regulatory pressures for companies or more incentives?
Well, I feel like my predictions only, instead of just competing and have just maybe US dominating or China dominating in the coming decade, it will be a duopoly where the two will complement each other. And on talent acquisition point, just now you mentioned that maybe is it a war for talents, where how is it for China to attract talents away from US? Oh, I think it will be more cooperation. For example, besides the 2.1 billion US dollars park that is going to be built in the coming 5 years in Beijing, big tech companies like Tencent, Baidu, and Alibaba are already setting their AI research parks in Silicon Valley and Seattle in 2014 and last year. So it seems to be China. We have already seen what is going. Is Chinese big tech giants are investing and setting their local AI research center even overseas in the US and maybe in other locations, and have a centralized headquarters as such, maybe in Beijing and within China.
Winnie?
Yeah, I agree that in terms of talent cultivations, there should be more collaborations between China and the US. However, I do have some worry on the talent cultivations of AI in mainland China. Now, in China, the AI practitioners nowadays is about 50,000. However, in the United States, they already have 850,000 AI practitioners. And in the UK is about 150,000. In India is 150,000, and in the UK is about 140,000. So China is a lot lag behind in terms of talents on AI. Even worse is about the publication influence, that is the citations of the research on AI, and is about half or more than half of that in the US. US is like 373, and China is like 168 something. So it's a lot less. So in order to catch up, not only the hardware or more collaboration networking program to work together, but also really some considerable effort that has to be made within China in collaboration with the global partners in building up the AI workforce in China.
Let's talk a little bit more about FinTech and how AI can play into that as well, because China, as we know, is really leading the world when it comes to mobile payment transactions. We have Alipay from Alibaba, obviously, but there has been a little bit more change in regulation in China. So, Winnie, why is that, and how are we seeing that compared to their Western counterparts?
I think the major difference is that in China, the proliferations of the fintech industry is mainly due to the relatively loose and flexible regulations. And that I see there is a great need of introducing the RegTech in China. RegTech can help in, say, identifying regulatory change, implementing regulatory change, and also help a lot of fintech company to have to be able to fix a lot of loopholes that might be able to, while they are trying to do a lot more compliance on those regulations. And that AI are actually the engine behind the scene to empower those RegTech to be implemented, like using the robot advisor, using smart wallets and kinds of things like that. And that will involve a lot of AI functionality.
Frankie, in your world as a lawyer, what sort of impact are you seeing in AI, or particularly, I guess, moving forward, are you seeing there's going to be greater scope for it? It's coming across every sector, essentially.
Well, from my experience, I would say the legal sector is particularly, is comparatively slower in terms of being more technology-driven. We have finance, medical, AI imported, and we have seen startups in Hong Kong doing RegTech work as well. But I think from a perspective as a lawyer, legal profession tends to be more reserved, but we're seeing the momentum going. And personally, as a technology lawyer, I've been helping with a number of RegTech deals, and we see that because we serve our clients, and manual, like compliance, legal advice is not up to speed for the large amount of legal issues and evolving issues that is going to be processed, documents to be processed, analyzed. And I think in the coming time, we will, like the regulatory sector officers and people will have to work smarter to be giving more strategic advice instead of just doing like maybe documents review and the basic and common standard kind of questionnaire type of advice. And it will mean we may have less junior. Like 20 years ago, for example, in typical law chambers, you see one secretary helping out 2 lawyers. Now we have one secretary helping out 8 lawyers. So it doesn't mean that we don't exist. It's just that we have to work smarter and embrace the use of AI and machines.
And that's sort of to the point of AI providing opportunity rather than perhaps taking it away, right? So we can have some of those more menial tasks done by robots, if you will. I want to talk a little bit more about Asia broadly, because we've been focusing on China. You're both based here in Hong Kong. I used to live in Hong Kong. I'm now in Singapore, which is trying to really lead the way in terms of fintech as well. But Hong Kong itself has this smart city blueprint. Winnie, how is that going to enhance the city's attractiveness for talent and, of course, allow the economy to prosper?
Yeah, the Hong Kong SAR government has published the Smart City Blueprint on December 15th last year, and it composed of 6 components: the smart living, smart mobility, smart environment, smart government, smart people, and also there's one more I forgot. Maybe I come back later on. For those 6 components, I would think that for the smart people, which is something that Hong Kong should have the edge on, because we have a lot of universities who is already ranked very high in the QS international ranking. We also embrace a lot of international students to come to Hong Kong to study and to work, and with favorable population policy. And we do believe that Hong Kong is actually the international hub to attract local, mainland, and international talents to work in Hong Kong and to support Hong Kong for the development of smart city. And we also believe that smart city has to take a bottom-up approach, which we always refer to as smart city 3.0. 1.0 is more the IT-centric from the company point of view. 2.0 is more the government-centric, which is more top-down. And the 3.0 is actually the bottom-up, which is the citizens co-create the smart city together with the governments and the private sector, or we call it 4P, private-public people's partnership. And that the Smart City 3.0 is really the way forward, how to engage the citizens to cultivate smart talents, as well as how to make good use of that smart people's initiative within the Smart City blueprint to build Hong Kong as a hub, or perhaps with the theme of smart people.
And is it a competition, or as we said earlier, you know, the US and China can collaborate together across Asia, for example? Frankie, do you think it's a competition, or do you think that, you know, we're seeing strength we're seeing it in Southeast Asia, we're seeing it here in Hong Kong as well?
Yeah, again, I think it's more a collaboration. And then to echo on the latest smart city plan published in December, actually, smart city initiative is one of the 8 core directions in technology development in the Hong Kong government's policy address in July last year. So the policy address has announced that at least 10 billion Hong Kong dollars will be set aside to help with this initiative. And in addition, another 3 billion will be set aside for talent and training. So we will see that this is a trend. And also from Hong Kong and China's perspective is that we all know there is a One Belt One Road initiative. So initially the focus may be more in the Asia and of all the culture and geographic proximity, I see there is collaboration with the driving center in the States instead of any competition.
We've only got a couple of minutes left. It's now 2018. How do you both envisage 2030 if and when China becomes a leader in AI? What is the world going to look like? Are we going to be in electric cars, flying cars? What do you see?
I will see that we will all become the Smart City 3.0. That is, there's citizens involved a lot in the government's decision-making. It's not only the government who really lead how to do, say, the public spending, but a lot of the citizens will be able to allow to express their will, involve in the decision support process, and play a role in building their city together. And this is the kind of citizen participations I would envisage that maybe not to wait till 2030, we should be able to realize sooner or later.
And Frankie?
And I think people will get more comfortable with embracing AI and Internet of Things in their lives. And there may be issues with cybersecurity, and this area is going to grow a lot. And with this, the people will be we will all be feeling comfortable in the public space, at least for our data to be collected, because there is this advancement in technology and convenience to our life, and with more confidence in the development of cybersecurity, we should be more comfortable with it.
So more comfortable in terms of, you know, we're not going to worry about whether or not we have Alexa on in our home 24/7?
We'll just accept that this is our friend, I think.
All right. Well, we are a panel of 3 women, and because we are women and we are, of course, always, let's say, a little bit more good at rounding things up. We're a minute 30 early. I don't think unless we've got any final comments or questions from the audience, we are trying to stick to time because I think we started a little bit late today and everyone has things to get to. But any quick questions from the audience before we wrap up with a minute to go? No. And I think it's really exciting that they, so thank you, Rob, for allowing a panel of women as well, because in this exciting space, it's great to get some insights coming through from female leaders. So thank you very much, Frankie Tam and Winnie Tang. And thank you.
Thank you.